We took Brian from 17,653 to 55,971 in just 5 months, and in this video I'm going to break down exactly how we did that. And now for all of you that are going to say, oh, Summer is just busy, last year in July he made 15,875. Now you guys seem to like the whiteboard style video from the last video, so I want to do it again. Now, what did Brian do before working with us? Before, he used to work with an agency that would not really get him any sort of results. All they would do is at the end of every month, they would send him some basic report with some numbers about their Google ads and nothing else. Now, if you work with an agency that only focuses on getting you leads, that is the only thing you will get, leads. But if you want actual booked jobs on your calendar, if you want to hire more installers, if you want a sales team that you can train, you need to find an agency who doesn't just get you leads, but does all of those things. Now, before I get into the meat of this, if you want to know more about us, just hit the link in the description and shoot me a DM on Instagram. Now, the first problem that we had to tackle was that he did not have enough leads, and his lead flow was not just inconsistent, but it was not enough. Now, in order to solve this, we set up highly targeted ads, which I'll talk about in a second, but he also did long-term organic SEO. Now, the ads were focused on capturing people already searching for the services in his city and in neighboring cities. So the people searching for window tinting, window tint shops, and flat glass as well, so residential and commercial window tinting. Everyone's searching for that. We just wanted to capture that search intent. Now, this is the reason I always suggest running Google Ads first, is because there's hundreds and sometimes thousands of people every single month searching for these services on Google. You just want to show up when they search the services before you start reaching people who are just scrolling on their feed and running any sort of awareness ads. So always focus on capturing that target market first, and then you can always start awareness campaigns such as Facebook, Instagram ads, etc. Now, Brian also wanted long-term organic growth, so he decided to do SEO with us as well. And that included us building a new website for him. And that website was built with the right keywords and the right off-page strategy to rank on Google, number 1, number 2, number 3, not just in his city, but in neighboring cities as well, for all of his services. So window tint, PPF, residential, commercial, ceramic coating, every single service that he offered, he wanted to show up, not just in his city, but multiple cities organically. And this is without having to spend in ads. Now, this doesn't mean that spending money on ads is bad. It is not bad. If it gets you a good return, you should spend money in ads, but you should also have an organic strategy that you can rely on in the long term. Now, the new website that we built him got him so many more leads than his old website, and the new ads that we set up for him obviously as well got him a lot more leads than his old ads. So the first thing, which was the lead flow issue, was fixed. Now, once we fixed the lead flow issue, the second and super important thing to work on was the sales process. Now, this involved a few things. First thing was obviously giving him a sales script that he could follow when he was speaking to every single lead, so that he was just not shooting in the dark and saying different things for different leads and not really having a structure of what to say on the call. Now, I will talk about that in a second. It involves questions, objection handling, all of that stuff. But the second thing was the CRM. Now, the CRM basically allowed him to book more jobs by sending follow-up SMSs without him having to follow-up call every lead. Now, it is very good if you follow-up call your leads. Now, I've made a video of this. Actually, the last video I made was on following up with your leads, like by phone. But if you have a CRM and if you know exactly what to say, you can also do this thing with the CRM by auto SMS. Now, the third thing, which is arguably, in my opinion, the most important thing, and which is why I have it covered, and I'm going to let you guys guess for like 2 seconds what it is being coachable. Now, if he was not coachable, if he did not listen to what we were saying, if he did not accept our advice, he would not have got these results. If you think you are the best at sales, and you might be, and you know you've been doing this for a while, you might be really good at sales, but there's always things that you can improve on. If you don't listen and don't improve, you will never get the results with just the marketing, because it always works together. It's always a combination of sales and marketing. So if you're getting a ton of leads, but your calls go like, hey, how can we help you? What are you looking for? And they're like, oh, I want to tint my sides and back. And they're like, okay, $340 for carbon, $440 for ceramic. Oh, I'll let you know. Thank you. Bye-bye. If that's your sales call, then you have to work a lot on the sales process. I'm going to give you some tips over here. Now, this is what you need to follow in order of importance to make more sales. Now, if you don't do anything, if you don't take anything else away from this video, just take one thing away: speed to lead. This will make the biggest difference in your closing rates and your conversion rates. If you can call leads in under 60 seconds, so think about this. I'm a window tint lead. There's something in my mind going on that's made me pick up the phone, submit a form on your website at that point. So maybe I have a thought in my mind, okay, it's really hot. Or I have a thought, okay, I need the privacy, like this person was looking at me today. That thought has made me submit the form today. And you want to basically reach out to the person literally as soon as they are closing that website page and like going off that website. That is speed to lead. If you can do it within 60 seconds, it's perfect. Now, a lot of tint shops, owner installers, they are installing most of the time. They cannot reach back to leads. But if you just take one thing away from this video is call them within 60 seconds. Don't text them. Call them within 60 seconds and you will see a big improvement without having to get better at sales. But we're here not just for big improvements, but the best improvements. So the second thing is having the right questions to ask on the sales call. Now, if you want these questions, just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll send over the questions. But what sort of questions should you ask? The first question should always be, hey, looks like you asked us to call you back and I know you submit a form on the website. Obviously, don't sound like me. I'm a little monotone over here. But when you were on the website, like what made you reach out? That's the first question. I was like asking that because then they always tell me, oh, your reviews were really good. And we like hearing that. And it's not important that we're hearing it, but it's important that they're saying it to themselves and to their brain. Now, the second thing is ask them what they're looking for with the window tint. Okay, so for the window tint, what were you kind of hoping that could do for you? That way I can see if I can help. Or you can say, because we have a few different options. So we're asking them, why do they want the window tint? They're going to tell us why they want the tint. But more importantly, they're going to tell themselves why they want the window tint. Now, another good question to ask that I've never seen anyone ask this, but if they tell you they want like 20% or they say 15% or 35%, whatever it is, if they say, hey, I'm looking for this percent, you always want to ask, okay, that's a fairly specific shade of darkness. Like any reason you want to go with that shade, that will basically tell you the real reason they're looking for a tint. So for example, one time I was speaking to a lead and he said he wants 5% and I was like, what's going on in the car? Like, what are you hiding over there, man? And he said he has some medical equipment. He needs to hide it. He went on a whole ramble of why it was important that he gets the 5%. But you can never get these answers if you don't ask these questions. And these answers will help you build the sale. And that's not it with the questions. I have so many of these questions. Again, if you want them, just ask me on Instagram, shoot me a DM. But another question you can ask is, okay, so before reaching out to us, John, were you out there like speaking to other companies or what have you been doing? Now, the reason we ask this question is we want to know, has he been speaking to anyone else? Has anyone else given him a quote? But more importantly, the second question is, if he says, yeah, I've spoken to a few companies or like, yeah, I spoke to someone in the past. Okay, and just so I understand, what prevented you from going with them? That question is super important because that will give us the objection that he will give us later in the sale after we give the price. We always want to get the objections before he gives the price because it's way easier to handle them than after you give the price. So for example, in this scenario, he can say, oh, it was too expensive, or like, the reason I didn't go with that shop was XYZ, and then we can tackle that reason there and then. Now, the third thing is objections. And this video is getting long, so you can always watch it in 2x, by the way. Now, when someone gives you an objection, that does not mean they don't want to buy. It's usually a smoke screen. So for example, if someone says they need to talk to their wife, that's probably not the actual reason they don't want to buy. Yes, maybe some people like discussing with their wife, but a lot of times they're just trying to get off the call. So it's very easy to handle objections if you know what to say. So for example, if someone says to you, yeah, that sounds great, I just need to talk to my wife. You're like, oh yeah, absolutely. What do you think she'll say? And then you're basically seeing what he says to that. And depending on what he says, if he says, oh, I think she'll say, oh, you can do it. Well, it's like, why not just go ahead and do it then? That's what you can say then. Or if she says she's going to be concerned about the money, then it is a money objection. So that's the third thing, handling objections. Fourth thing, follow up. I've made some videos on this. You should always follow up with a lead. If you are not able to close the lead on the first call, that does not mean you will not close that lead. A lot of our sales come from follow-ups. And the last thing is tracking your close rate. You should always know your numbers. If you can, you should track close rate by source. So you should track your close rate from ads, specifically from Google ads, from Facebook ads if you're running them, from your website, from word of mouth referrals, all of that stuff. Tracking your close rate is very important. Now, that was a bit of a long video. Just to end it, I want to talk about the next steps for Brian. So we started running PPF ads for him and they've been working really well. He's booked out on PPF and window tint, and he's now looking to hire another installer, which is again another challenge that he has to face to hit the next revenue level. But that is it for the video. But before I end, I want to say one thing, and that is that these free tips are great to get started, but they'll only take you so far. The real breakthroughs happen when someone actually sets it up, coaches you, and runs it for your business, which is what we do. So if you want to finally grow your window tint business and break the current revenue level that you're at, shoot me a DM on Instagram and we can talk more. But that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one.